This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
You know, after 4.5 months, this shouldn't need to be said. 4.5 months after October 7th, this should not need to be said. The world does not get to dictate how Israel defends itself. Israel will make that decision. Israel will make that determination. Not the rest of the world. Israel is at war, defending itself, its security, its prosperity, its people. Israel is defending its very existence. It is at war. And no other country in the world gets to tell Israel how to fight this war, how to defend itself. Not even the United States. Not even the United States of America gets to tell Israel how Israel defends itself. Reports that the United States is going to propose a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. That the U.S. is putting forth a draft United Nations resolution proposing a temporary ceasefire in Gaza and warning against any potential Israeli ground incursion in Rafah, where hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians have fled to. Now, these reports of a United States resolution, proposing a resolution at the UN, calling for a temporary ceasefire, warning against Israel going into Rafah, come as there's an Algerian proposal that will be voted on, I guess, this morning, calling for an immediate ceasefire. This comes among reports that Joe Biden has been increasingly more adamant with Netanyahu that Israel cannot go into Rafah. Rafah, the neighborhood where, again, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been displaced. It is also Rafah, the last stronghold of Hamas, right? In Rafah, we're faced with, Israel is faced again with what they've been faced with since the beginning of this war, what they've been faced with since Hamas took over Gaza 17 years ago. Hamas infiltrating itself among its civilian population. Hamas making its civilian infrastructure and its terrorist infrastructure one and the same. Look, again, to be clear, these reports, if true, are disturbing, and they piss me off. The thought that the United States might actually propose a resolution encouraging a ceasefire, warning against Israel going into Rafah, warning against Israel fighting its war the way Israel determines they must and need to fight the war. This would be really disturbing. And we know why Biden would do it. Biden is doing it purely, would do it purely for domestic political reasons. He feels like he's getting hammered politically from his left flank, from young people, from Muslim Americans who have not appreciated Biden's steadfast defense of Israel since October 7th. I got to tell you something. If you're worried about the politics, Mr. President, you start to go soft, you start to go wobbly on Israel, then you really ought to worry about the politics, Mr. President, because you're going to give Trump an opening. And most Americans are pro-Israel. Maybe not the Twitter crowd, maybe not the MSNBC crowd, maybe not young people, maybe not the left, and certainly not Muslim Americans, but the vast majority of Americans are pro-Israel. And if you start to go wobbly on Israel, if you, Mr. President, have the United States put forth a proposal recommending, encouraging a ceasefire, a temporary ceasefire, war, trying to dictate how Israel should fight this war, it's going to hurt you politically. That'll hurt you politically. You're going to lose support. Most Americans are going to see you getting wobbly for purely political reasons. I acknowledge that politically this has been a tough stance for Biden because this Israel is an issue that divides the Democratic base. Half of Democrats don't support Israel. The left doesn't support Israel. I get that this is young people do not support Israel. I get this is an issue that divides the Democratic coalition. But Biden, you go soft and wobbly on Israel now. That'll hurt you politically. Big time. America was hit on 9/11. Can you imagine 3 to 4 months after 9/11, as America embarks upon a war to get back at those who hit America on 9/11? Can you imagine 3 to 4 months after 9/11, the world telling America how to fight its war? The world telling America how to handle defending itself. Can you imagine other countries putting forth resolutions in the UN telling America what it can and cannot do after 9/11? No, you can't. I couldn't. And I'd be pissed off if that were to happen. Just as I'm pissed off right now about anybody, any part of the world except for Israel, telling Israel what it can and should do in this fight to defend itself. Hamas's last stronghold in this war is Rafah. If Israel has to go into Rafah to eliminate Hamas, it will do it, and it should do it. And Israel will do, by the way, what it's done since the beginning of this war: take great care to avoid civilian casualties. Don't go wobbly now, Joe Biden. Damn it. Don't go wobbly because you're afraid of politics. The politics. Man, you go wobbly now, then fear the politics. Because you'll have plenty of people like me who will turn on you politically. Most Americans support Israel rightly. Stay steadfast, Joe Biden. I'm Joe Walsh. This is White Flag with Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh White Flag at gmail.com. Joe Walsh White Flag, all one word. Joe Walsh White Flag at gmail.com. That's my email. Hope you're having a good week. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.